Hey, I'm back. Sorry it took a little while to get up on here. Sorry it took a second. I was drawing something out on my little board. So we're going to be talking about how spirituality is, or the spiritual world is the quantum world or quantum physics. So the more I read, the more I study, the more I see quantum physics in ancient texts, ancient writings that are also encoded in the script as well. Because anybody who writes with knowledge and multi-dimensional perspectives will have several layers of meaning behind each phrase. We do have several dimensions, and so knowledge is also based on levels of thinking, levels of consciousness. So things will be revealed to you as you grow in your intelligence, knowledge, and consciousness. So a lot of the emerald tablets that I'll be referring to are going to be from the book, the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets. So if y'all are going to ask, this is the book that I'm going to be referring to. It's also linked in the description. So as long as you have access to knowledge like the internet, you can, you can learn pretty much for free. You don't have to be in college to know quantum physics. You can go buy a cheap book and get that knowledge, okay? That's what I was actually getting ready to do, is put the link in the description for that quantum physics book, but I'll do that later. So I'll also be referring to this book, Quantum Physics in Minutes. You've probably seen this before on my channel. So let's get started, shall we? So referring to the Emerald Tablets, there is a part in there where it talks about leaving your body and traveling. It says, I, on the gray shores of time space's end, found I the hounds of the barrier, ravening for the soul who attempts the beyond. Fled I through circles back to my body, fled and fast after me they followed. I, after me, the devourers, like they devour you. The devourers followed, seeking through angles to devour my soul. And the soul who dares the barrier may be held in bondage by the hounds from beyond time. Held till this cycle is complete and left behind when the consciousness leaves. Okay, so I'm going to show you what it means in quantum physics. I already drew it out so y'all see. But I'll also find the book section where I drew it from. So this basically describes the beta minimum decay in quantum physics, where the electrons, where the protons, nucleus, and neutrons basically trade or drop off or add to, and then it loses one and gains one, and then you have anti-neutrinos and plus electron, and then you get a beta particle. So it's really explained easily in here because I know that makes no sense to anyone, but it tells you in the same exact, a lot of the same words as Thoth used. That's how it sticks out, because he uses a lot of the same vocabulary when he's describing the hounds and the barrier and this and that. So that's how you can relate it. That's why I want to give it to you in a book so that you can go and read the exact words yourself. And you'll understand why they call them hounds. They're called hounds because they describe the particles or the the process with alpha, beta, all those things. And those are how they also label, dogs or packs or wolves or something like that when it comes to, who's in charge or who's dominant and who's not. So they use that language a lot when they're describing packs of dogs, in like the animal kingdom, right? So that is why they capitalized hounds in the book, because it doesn't mean dogs. It means that in which is like a kingdom as like a dog. There's alpha, there's beta, da da da. So when you get into the alpha and the beta and all that kind of stuff, with protons and neutrons, the the beta decay, it's referring to this part of the Emerald Tablets where it talks about the hounds. So I'm trying to find the page because I thought I marked it, but I didn't. There's so many interesting lessons in this book. Each lesson is one page, so you won't get overwhelmed. And it basically breaks down quantum physics in a nutshell. So you'll basically learn something very complex in one page. And that is very helpful because it will allow you to understand something that seems very complex in a really easy fashion. It's not written with large words. So most people will be able to fully understand what's happening. Okay, so I found goes into dark energy and all that stuff. So I'm trying to find the page. I should have marked it, and I'm sorry that I didn't. I was reading on a whole nother. Oh, here it is. I found it. Phew. Reading on a whole other thing. So we have the alpha decay, and you see it just changes different electrons and neutrons to create something new. Particles. So when he says in circles, I'm like, in circles, particles are circles. So in particles or in circles, travel in circles, travel in particles. Travel in particles. And then it also has gamma decay. So like when you try to descend back and go back into your body, there's photons that are released and, excess energy in the form of high unstable spin. So when you try to come back down, it's like, unless you are able to decay your, leftover energy and gain control to basically put direction onto your descent. So this will kind of be like on the Beyonce Black is King, when the little boy was coming back into the planet like a comet. This would be gamma decay when your soul returns. Okay, so gamma decay is your soul's return to a body, or to be reborn through a body from the cosmos. This would be gamma decay, entering into the planet. But in a spiritual term, this would just be your soul returning into the earth in order to be reborn or to do some type of work in the earth. Maybe not be reborn, but just your energy. So it's all having to do with quantum physics. If you want to break it down scientifically, it's particles, it's energy, and when your energy enters the atmosphere at a certain speed or force, interchanging through this, from energy from the sun, from the earth, it's going to take away, certain things like certain protons or neutrons, or a proton will turn into a neutron to balance things out in order to keep your entire, being or your soul intact. Now, there are some that decay and it takes away from it. And so it minuses what you have. So if you don't have a high frequency, like upon dissension, and you're coming from maybe not the cosmos, but maybe from, higher up in the atmosphere or wherever, and you're trying to come down or you're trying to go up, depending on where you're going. If you get into an area where there's lots of protons or like a lot of sun, because sunlight is protons, or if you try to pass through the ionosphere, it's going to take some of your electrons away. And if you don't have enough neutrinos or neutrons to replace them or turn into protons, then you're kind of left vulnerable to get sucked up somewhere else. So it's kind of like, it's basically your soul, your spirit in energy form, in particle form. And, if you can't turn into a wave, like if your particles cannot turn into waves, then they're most likely to be decayed and stripped away. That's why I'll give you an example. If you watch the video Sicko Mode by Drake and Travis Scott, when he's saying out like a light, and then you see him like traveling through space and his skin is coming off and you can see parts of his skull. It's like, that's kind of what the beta minus decay represents, or the the gamma decay is when you're coming from the cosmos and you're in wave form, then you turn into particle form, and your electrons are so excited and energized that they replace themselves. So that's why it's called immortal, because they replace themselves. They don't get taken away. They'll be replaced with like a neutrino or something like that, or a proton. So breaking it all the way down to science, your soul is quantum. So cosmic being, quantum, it all breaks down to what you can kind of look at as the spiritual world. That's why on like those ghost shows, they use electromagnetic detectors and energy shifts and changes in the atmosphere to detect whether there's spirits around, because it's quantum. And like if you learn quantum physics through an easy book like this, you will see so many similarities. Like the words barrier is also used in quantum physics. The barrier is used when describing the decay of beta decay, alpha decay, and gamma decay. So there's certain barriers that these radioactive particles can't get through, which is also known as quantum tunneling. And I've talked about this before. So this is where we get the term stuck on the wall or off the wall, live your life off the wall, because the barrier is like the wall. If your particles can't get through the wall like a ghost, Michael Jackson's Ghost, if your particles can't get through the wall like a ghost, you get stuck on the wall or you bounce back in an angle. This is why in the Emerald Tablet it says the hounds only travel in angles. So if you're bounced off the wall, you create an angle as you bounce back. And this is the hound, which is the beta or alpha decay. The hounds of hell, Anubis also represents death and embalming. So it's also a jackal or dog-headed entity or god. So this represents the decay that is happening when those particles do not turn into waves, hits the wall, creates an angle, and bounces back alpha, beta, gamma. So that's how they define the ranks of like animal packs, dog packs, wolf packs, whatever. So when you relate it to the Emerald Tablets, it says travel in circles, which are particles. See? So very interesting, right? How it lines up. And you know how they say, there's there's two more tablets that have not yet been revealed. I'm not sure if there's more or if there's two more dimensions of the tablets that people have yet to see because they have not entered that level of consciousness yet. So a lot of people are saying, oh, there's two extra tablets, or is there just two extra dimensions or levels of consciousness that when we reach them, we will see the knowledge and the tablets already given. So again, there's also pictures that are included about the neutrons, electrons, particles, and things like that. And as above, so below, the universe and also protons, neutrons, and electrons are very similar in how they are functioning. Yeah. So learning quantum physics is also going to broaden your spiritual consciousness. And you don't have to learn it like in order, because I don't. Whenever I want to learn something in quantum physics that I'm not familiar with, because I don't know quantum physics as a whole, I just go and get this little book and I just flip through it, and whatever I see interesting, I start to read it. Okay. And then I'll go and read another book, and then I'll see something similar. I'm like, wait a minute, that sounds just like that page I read earlier in the quantum physics book. Then I go get this book, and I go get that book, and I'm like, it's the same thing. And so that's how I kind of put stuff together and decode it just by being random and just curious. If there's no formal study that I do. There's no formal study. I just get bored. So these are the books. This one is linked below. You can get this one on Amazon. And this one, I will put it up there later. I forgot to put that in there. But yes, there are so many other things that you see all the time in movies and poems and things like that you have no idea that are related to quantum physics and the spiritual world. We just think it's poetry or literature, but a lot of the stuff is based on these things. And also our life here on the planet. So playing dice, probability. What is your probability that you will turn into a wave and get through the wall instead of a particle bouncing back off? Man, it feel like rolling dice. 7-11, 7-11, 7 twice. And I'll show you this. 7 twice. The gateway would be 11. So the gateway or through the wall would be 11. So 7, 7, and then 7 twice is 14. So this is, maybe she was talking about not getting through the wall. Okay. Maybe she was talking about getting through the wall. Maybe she was talking about beta minus decay. Maybe she was talking about something else. You never know. But like I said, if you write something in multi-dimensional perspectives, or if you even just get stuff from the Emerald Tablets or from esoteric knowledge, it's already pretty much multi-dimensional, no matter where you put it. You could do it by accident and put it in a lyric and not know what it means on a higher dimension until much later. And then you go back and look at it and it means way more. So that's why a lot of artists' music becomes more important as time goes on, especially if they put code in it, because people's consciousness grows. And so those meanings of those songs, get multidimensional as well. So do y'all have a question? I don't know. I know a lot of people are just beginning and just like, what is this? What? I'm not into science. No. But spirituality in the spirit world is science. That's why on all the movies that have to do with ghosts, ghost hunting, like Ghostbusters and all that, they used a lot of heavy science and quantum physics because that's exactly what it is. Like the spiritual world is just science. There's nothing else to it but the science. Science is spirituality. Because back in the old days, in the ancient days, they did not separate the two. As we descended in our consciousness, or, things separated, but it was never separated in the beginning. That's why you can always find it in code back in the ancient texts. Even when it doesn't sound like code, it sounds like a story or some instructions, but the deeper you look and the more science and quantum physics you learn, the more spirituality you'll understand on a higher level. So yeah, to simplify it, people just say spirits and ghosts. But really what it is particles of electrons, protons, and neutrons that are excited and vibrating on a lower level. That's it. When, let's say, okay, so let's talk about reincarnation in quantum physics. That'll be interesting, right? So let's say you have a soul coming back as energy, wave particle energy, light energy, particle energy, gamma ray. Let's say a gamma ray from a gamma ray is now in the Earth's atmosphere. Okay. That energy can decay to a point where it's able to penetrate your womb as a female, a woman, and wave form to enter your womb. Let's put it like this. Okay, this is very easy to understand, right? So you got a gamma ray coming from the cosmos. It's in the atmosphere. And here come a lady. She, I'm pregnant. It's going to pass through that wall, that belly, and be in there. Okay. Or pass through when, I guess, closer to when it's time to get in there. Some people, they want to see what type of parents they're going to be born to. And they might come when the baby takes their first breath and they get that air. And then it starts, because in the air, you have particles in the air. You got water in the air, So when a lot of those things get activated, it's like the soul begins to grow. And the consciousness and the soul begin to form as one. The spirit, the soul begin to form as one. But first you needed, that wave particle action to be able to be conscious. So it's coming from above, coming from the cosmos, or coming from higher up in the earth or in the atmosphere, depending on your frequency. Also depends on what frequency you can receive. This is exactly what I'm talking about. If your makeup is a certain thing, you can receive certain things. If it's not, you can't receive certain things, you see, because it's science. If you're alpha decay or beta minus decay, you can't get certain things unless you have certain neutrons and protons as far as your frequency is concerned. They can't pass through you. They can't replace one with the other and get inside the womb. So this is why I say some people have to reincarnate through DNA or similar frequency, skin tone, frequency. Skin tone is also frequency. The amount of eumelanin you possess also determines the amount of electrons you possess. Okay, so it's all science, all of it. If you would like cosmic gamma, you got to have cosmic makeup, cosmic particles already in your body. If you don't have cosmic particles in your body and you have different, numbers of electrons and protons. Well, it's going to make a bunch of different neutrinos, replace this or take this away, and it won't manifest. It won't pass through, or it won't be excited enough to stick in that vessel. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to, this is why if you mix your race, you have more neutrinos and electrons to be replaced with versus not enough. And then you, yeah. So there you go. Very scientific. What's the difference between Billy Carson's edition? Oh, he added his notes in there. Like, you know how I'm telling you guys stuff like this? Well, stuff like that is entered in and in between the actual tablets. So let's say, oh, I saw quantum physics in tablet 7 or whatnot, and I would insert, a picture and talk about quantum physics and how it relates to the passage. So it has like little notes like that, kind of lightly touching on decoding some of it to help you to understand what it relates to. So it's not rewritten, it's just little notes added to help you kind of understand and decode on a light, middle ground level. Some of it gets very intense in the decoding of it, and some of it's light to kind of, just give you different perspectives. But the tablets are the same. So showing you in the modern terms of what a lot of this stuff could mean. So now if you like, now that I read this, because like I always read this every couple of months because new stuff is revealed through the Emerald tablets, the more your consciousness grows. So that's why you got to reread it over and over. And every time I read it, I see something new. This time I saw beta minus decay, and I also saw gamma decay because I was bored one day and read 2 pages out of this quantum physics book. And then I take books with me when I have to wait, or like when I gotta pick up my kids from school, and I just sit in the car and read and take notes. And so that's what I do for fun. Okay, yes, I'm a boring nerd, but hey, that's what gives me, it's what gives me joy. To figure out the mysteries and see the connections and things. I think it's what the connections is what give me joy. I don't know why. Just seeing everything, how it connects over and over and over. Like nothing is coincidence anymore. And I think the more we realize that everything connects and nothing is coincidence, the easier it is to manifest. If you can understand what manifestation is in science, you can believe it more. And that means your frequency is going to be higher while manifesting, and your return is going to be greater because basically you just did science, instead of not believing something works, not understanding how something works, or just thinking it's like superstition. If you understand it to the quantum level, to the scientific level, you'll be as bold as Donald Trump and get up there and say, we won. So when you have the science behind the spiritual, there's no doubt. This is why a lot of people that are higher up in these secret societies, and they do all this magic or manifesting and whatnot, and they do it with little doubt. It's because a lot of people understand the science of the spiritual. Magic science, basically spirit science, magic science. That's it. That's all it is. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean that it does not exist. Because people couldn't see germs back in the old days until they created microscopes. Who knows? There's spirit scopes now, because infrared, night vision, night goggles, energy detectors, EMF readers, all of that. We have that stuff now. We can see particles and waves. We can see gamma rays in the atmosphere now. We can see that. That's you. That's your ancestors in particle form, in soul spirit form. That's you. You know how I know a lot of y'all watched Bobby Hemmett back in the day, and he said, you know what those UFOs are up in the sky? That's you. All those circles, those are a bunch of particles, gamma rays, and electrons and neutrons, trading with each other in the ionosphere, exciting each other and traveling in circles and groups and giant particle with light. That's all it is. That's all it is. Now, of course, there are people that have built flying saucers and, stealth aircrafts and stuff like that. But I'm talking about the lights. Thank you, Mermaid Teens. Nerd is life. It's so fulfilling, and you're healing and manifesting all at the same time. We're like scientists that add to the knowledge. That's right. Thank you, Sprinkle Sprinkle. So whenever you see a strange light, just think of it as a bunch of particles getting together and exchanging and becoming excited in order to enter or leave the planet into another dimension. Because, the wall or the barrier is also the wall or the barrier of this third dimension. We can go into 4D and 5D depending on our frequency and particles and our ability to turn into waves and particles and transcend the third dimension. Okay. I think it's interesting because a lot of people visit other dimensions during astral travel and doing, astral travel, I guess. If you find yourself in a strange dimension or in between dimensions, and you see a light, like I have many times, because this is what a lot of people say, what they see when they die. I seen a light. And it was calling to me. And I seen my family. A lot of people think, oh, don't go into the light. Don't go into the light. Yeah, don't go into the light if you don't want to die. If you don't want to transcend this dimension, stay your butt out the light. But this is your opportunity as, these energy particles to either exchange energies to go into that dimension or to keep your energy here and stay in this dimension. And a lot of times it's like a lot of people say it's a trick, and it is, because if you are unable to get to a certain dimension, then you are used instead as food to other particles who need what you have in order to shift and get to the next dimension. So this is what Thoth talks about when he's talking about when you leave your body, there are these hounds that are going to be after you. They get your little extra electron or proton or whatnot so they can get on to the next. Just like in the movie Poltergeist, where they needed Carol Ann to help them get through to the other side, all them ghosts and stuff. They needed Carol Ann because, she had a little extra proton or a neutron. Yeah, leftovers. They're missing one, so they gotta get another one. So a lot of times you have to be very smart, when you read about spirituality, because a lot of it is not going to give you the correct instruction. Oh, go to the light, it's an angel. Okay, they're gonna take your stuff right with them. And you're going to be left trying to get your particle and waiting on the next person to come through. This is what they talk about in the Emerald Tablets when they say travel through circles. There will be hounds in the angles. And if you hear them noises, you better hurry up and get back to your body because they're going to chase you every which way. This is what it talks about in the Emerald Tablets. So if you're left without a proton and a neutron, like, dang, it's kind of like you got scammed. And in order to get in order to get what you lost back, you got to scam another person. Um, it's like one of those horror movies where you're cursed and you can't get rid of the curse until you put it on somebody else. You know, those type of movies. It's like that. So this is your bottom feeders. This is why you have to, before you become spaceborne and leave, this place. This is why everyone's trying to tell you get as much electrons as you can. Okay, yeah, drag me to hell. Exactly. See, they make horror movies based on this in a certain type of way. So if you are able to get a certain amount of electrons and protons into where your plasma body or spiritual body or particle body is able to transcend and turn into waves and pass into different dimensions, while allowing, not allowing your electrons to be stolen, because you're producing, neutrons and, replacing this and that. And so you don't really lose anything. You just keep going. That's what they mean by immortal. Immortal. You just regenerate yourself. Nothing can snatch nothing from you. But if you lack, you got a little this, you got a little that, and you don't have enough strong, frequency, then people can snatch stuff away from you unless, you have enough of this electromagnetic, or these electron particles or proton particles, depending on, you see, this is the other part of the science. When you pass through the ionosphere, what's that made out of? What kind of particles are those? Did you go up in the sky and take a sample of particles? And what is this? Okay, well, this is a bunch of protons. This is going to strip my electrons. So I need a bunch of neutrons. And I need a bunch of electrons and protons so that when I pass through, I still can regenerate through gamma decay, alpha decay, beta minus decay, whatever. I need to be able to replenish myself. And it works the same way with fighting off a virus. Uh-oh, I'm getting some unstable connection. Okay, so it works the same way by fighting off a virus or by being deoxygenated. So let's say you have pheomelanin, which is your lighter pink skin or pale skin. Then you have a mixed person, which can tan, but they're still mixed. And then you have a darker person with very dark melanin. They did a study. Thank you, Rose. They did a study and they bombarded everybody with, radiation. They bombarded the cells with radiation of mixed, black, and white. And the white or pheomelanated cells, the pheomelanated cells got deoxygenated, which means they were stripped of their oxygen and they could not rebuild themselves, and they died and created permanent DNA damage. Then they went to the black person who was heavily eumelanated, and they did not get deoxygenated. They were fine, of course. Then they got to the mixed person, and they got deoxygenated, but they quickly healed. So they died and they were reborn. They got deoxygenated, but their cells, because they have that DNA from the eumelanin, quickly healed themselves. So there was no permanent DNA damage. So we have these 3 studies, and it's the same thing as the type of decay that particles go through, or plasma or spiritual particles go through when ascending or descending. Okay. In this physical world, in this third dimension. Okay. And also according to, where you are in the cosmos, let's say, you get up into the cosmos, there's, the sun has a lot of protons. This planet got a lot of this. Saturn rings might have a lot of this type of particles or electrons or neutrons, whatever. So whatever, this is why you need to know science. Like in the spirit realm, whatever you get close to or far from may strip you or add to you. Depending on your frequency and the amount of energy that you have. Because like after a certain point and you're no longer in a physical body, you don't have eumelanin. All you are taking with you is the energy that your eumelanin got from the sun, the lights, and the energy around it. And that transmuted all that energy into your soul. And when your soul leaves your body, it takes all of that with it. And it's basically particles because, it's water. The third, solid, liquid, gas. And then the fourth state of matter is plasma, which are these electrons, neutrons, and proton particles. So it's a form of water. That's why Kanye made the song, "We Are Water." And water travels through outer space. Now all of a sudden there's water on the moon. How water get on the moon? It's conscious. Now they done found some water on Mars. How did water get on Mars? On Mars. Because it's conscious. It's particles, waves. It's solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. So that's us. What are my thoughts on getting a PhD in physics? I don't think you need one unless you just want to teach it or sound important or write a book and for it to sell by having that as a title. But like I said, the average person just needs to understand the simplest form of physics or quantum physics. Like, I'm not a title person, but I understand why it is needed sometimes to be taken more seriously or legit. But I don't really care to be taken more seriously or legit. I just explain stuff to people on a simple format like YouTube. My career is not based on being known for talking about this stuff. I just do it because I like to. So, but I understand if somebody wanted that as a career and as their, identity, definitely would help them. You said MIT offers free online courses. Mm-hmm. Well, that's interesting, but I rather go where the universe takes me. I don't like order. I don't like stuff taught or instructed or institutionalized. I like to find it randomly. I like to be led to it. I'm more spiritual than I am academic. So I don't like the structure of academia. Sorry. I have to feel like I'm led to something at a certain time, not when it's not when the next chapter is due. I like to find it how I find it. Yeah. Because a lot of times this is how I get a lot of the information that I get, and it's very timely. And particles also are consciousness. So if I'm getting a wave particle through my brain or a thought, which is what it is, it's a thought, those are still conscious. So a wave particle is going to a particle is going to turn into a wave, pass through my little brain, and I'm going to pick up that information. It could be at the perfect time that I need it or that it needs to be known. But if I'm ignoring that and just going straight for books and chapters and, academia, I'm not going to be focused enough on receiving or being a receiver, but I'm going to be more focused on being a memorizer. I receive and then I go get the knowledge that I need to perceive. See, that's how it works, because I don't want a bunch of random knowledge in my head that I'm not going to equate with something that I've received because it's memorized in a certain order. I like to create, what I'm going to talk about and learn based on what I receive. Mm-hmm. But like if people like the titles, that's perfectly understandable if that's what they're going to use as, for their career. And I definitely understand, because like if you really want to push this knowledge and you get higher up and you get more well known, people are gonna like, so what are your credentials? So how do you know this stuff? So why should I listen to you? Oh, well, we're going to hire this person with a degree, or get this person with a degree to be on, this show because they got a degree. It's kind of like your opportunities may increase depending on, what you know academically. But if that's not your goal, which it ain't my goal, if that's not your goal, then you really don't need it. Um, well, we already know the educational system is not based on spirituality or any type of higher mind. So that's why it doesn't work that well. Thank you, Phoenix. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Sheila, can you suggest books, topics, websites that we can look into to research for beginners? Which one have helped you? I just gave you some. The for beginners, I don't know how far along you are or not. Definitely start with the universal laws, 7 universal principles. I would definitely start off with that. Maybe the Kabbalion. That's pretty easy to read. Thank you, Sprinkle Sprinkle Phoenix. Symbols, any book of symbols. In fact, I have a lot of free PDFs on my Patreon, which is also linked below. Lots of books in PDF form that you can get. All the stuff that I recommend. A lot of it. Alchemy, yeah. The Complete Idiot's Guide to Alchemy. And when you read books, don't take everything literal. Don't take everything as physical. See the many ways that it could be taken. Yeah, yes, it would be taken physical, also spiritual, also mental, also financially, also scientifically. So you have to have at least. They say you have to have at least 9 ways to perceive something or to understand something on different levels. That's the 9 dimensions of, understanding something on a different level. Thank you, Rose. Hey, Shira, we have a session November 12th. Thank you, Sprinkle Sprinkle. There'll be audio. Thank you, Rose. Sprinkle Sprinkle. I let go. You let God fight your battles. That's that Kanye West lyric for nah, nah, nah. Overthrow. Sending drones in. I don't need this trap back. This is what he was talking about. Anyway, yeah, y'all think Kanye crazy, but he's smarter than y'all think. Oh. Overthrow. Sending drones in. I see Tito. I hit the moon, walk like I see Tito. He started moving backwards because, that's an angle. He hit it and he had to go backwards. Anyway, yes, this is the kind of humor nerds laugh at. Yes, this is the kind of humor that you find in a Kanye West song if you're aware. Or you might just think he crazy and made some stupid lyrics up, but really it's talking about quantum physics and traveling in your soul form. But, there's so many layers of knowledge. Until you get there, you can't really laugh about it. Or think or know if someone's really throwing shade or not, and who they're really throwing shade to, or what they're saying with, and they know most people don't understand. Like Michael Jackson lyrics, a lot of it, you know. So you might just start laughing at a song that's not funny because you understand it on a different level. Yeah, knowledge is infinite. When you feel someone doesn't need to care about credentials or titles. When do I feel like, okay, so in my life, no one cares about my credentials. You know, I mean, I'm solely judged on the way I look mostly, so nobody cares about my credentials, baby. Who texted me? Thank you, Art by Benji. Sprinkle, sprinkle. I'm not trying to get a job anywhere. I'm not trying to get on nobody's television show. I don't need the credentials. And if I needed them that bad, I'd find a shortcut. Okay, y'all know me. I'd find a loophole, okay? Thank you, Brooklyn Queen. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Just came across your channel from Philip Matthews. Looking forward to binge watching and getting your book. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sprinkle, sprinkle. My book, How to Manifest with Dark Energy or Using Dark Energy. Thank you. Yeah, so I have not started from the beginning to reread the entire thing with quantum physics in mind. So that will be interesting to kind of get that perspective on it. But I think only certain parts of this is going to be quantum, like the spaceborne part, or where yin yang is concerned and stuff like that. The latter part of the tablets is probably going to be more about quantum. Can you give some examples of loopholes that you're trying? Y'all know me, like my loophole would be printing out a degree. That would be my loophole. Okay. Or making friends with a professor. You know what I mean? Hi, professor. Sign this paper for me. Women have lots of loopholes. We don't need a strap back. We just borrow. We get them electrons excited and we get to borrow stuff or take. Okay. We get them protons excited and they just be shooting over stuff to us. And I'm like, here you go. So it's quantum. It's very quantum. Thank you, Rosalina. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Sure, when you gonna sell Jezebel oils? I don't make oils, but thank you, Sprinkle, sprinkle. You can visit my store, Dark Realm, online occult shop, and there's probably the Jezebel root in there. You can make your own oil. Yeah, sprinkle, sprinkle. Can we use quantum physics for understanding religion and holy books? Yep. You know, they talk about the war in the heavens. And if you watch Ancient Aliens, you'll see like a bunch of circles and like stuff shooting through the air, look like protons and neutrons and neutrinos and stuff. That's what it is. The battle in the sky. Nucleus. Neutrons, protons, and electrons. It looks just like the drawing from the ancient times when they drew. If you watch Ancient Aliens or look in that book, the what was it? The Indian Bhagavad Gita, and they show the orbs and stuff, and that's it. That's all it is. They just zoomed in with a microscope and showed you how it would look if it was huge, because the battle in the sky is happening this small and microscopic particles all the time. Okay. It's happening all the time. It's happening right now. What advice would I give someone who wants a PhD but has no plans on being in academia or getting a job? Print out a certificate and make sure you have PhD printed on it if you're not trying to get a job. They can't check your credentials if you don't try to get a job. You can create the life you desire, sir. As long as you're not trying to use it and claim it's, real, it doesn't matter. Or you can make PhD mean whatever you want. Play a hating degree, just like Biggest Smalls. Okay. How you doing? You got a player hating degree? You got a PhD. I mean, that's all I can tell you. I can't tell you anything like legitimate. I can just tell you how to fake it. Make it till you make it. Who gave the first person a PhD? He gave himself one. That's who gave him. My logic might get you in trouble, so just take my spiritual information and my scientific information, because my logic will have you repeating what I said. Like, who gave the first PhD their PhD? And then you'll look at them like that with the duck lip, and they won't have an answer for you. And you will win every debate. That's why I said always go back to the source. Who gave Thoth his PhD? Thoth ain't got no PhD. Anyway, that literally would be my argument. That's why I could never be on a debate team. That's why I could never really debate anyone, because I take the loophole. Like, I'll tell my kids, when they get like something wrong on a test or a math test or like something, I'll say, well, just tell them that none of this is real and it's all a hologram. So, or they'll laugh at me. They won't do it. So how can someone become like Nikola Tesla? Like, if you want to become the Nikola Tesla, you want to get as smart as him and become an inventor. He didn't have PhD anything. He studied ancient Kemet in ancient Egypt. He also tapped into what they call the Akashic records by raising his frequency through electromagnetic energies. So he was able to tap into higher knowledge that was passing through. Like I told you, like there's particles that turn into waves that enter your brain, and that's how you get a lot of your thoughts. So if you're on a higher frequency and you're able to receive those things, and you're not being constantly fed stuff to distract you with, and you can just be still, you'll be able to come to a lot of those ideas, such as a Nikola Tesla, and study the ancients who used to do the same thing. And that's how a lot of people come to it. And even scientists study, all of this. He got messages from higher entities, right? And an entity can be in any form. It could be in particle form, wave form, thought form, in other dimensions. And in order to get to those other dimensions, you have to only pass through them in particle or wave form. So that's all it is. You're thinking too physical. You're thinking too physical. Once you leave this physical body, even when you go to sleep, you're not even your body anymore. You're a consciousness. So get out of physical thought and get into energetic thought. That's what Tesla said. Once you see everything as far as frequency and energy, then you will begin to see the universe. That's what Tesla said. Yeah. So stop seeing stuff as physical. This is basically, I'll give you a good example of what a body is. Let's say you have a grain of sand, right? No, let's say dust. Let's say you have a piece of dust flying through the air. Thank you for all the knowledge you share. You inspire me to be beautiful and educated. Thank you, Khadijah, Sprinkle Sprinkle. Appreciate that. So let's say you're a piece of dust flying through the air, right? Break down your chemical or element on the periodic table. What are you probably made of? Carbon or something? Yeah. Then you take a bunch of dust and smack it together. You got a bunch of dust together. Now you got dirt. Add some water to it. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Now you got mud. Add some more stuff to it. Add some rocks and gravel. Now you got clay. You see, the creation story of making Adam out of clay, or making man out of clay, or should get the dust particle. And how do you get dust? Where do dust always form? On the blinds, from light and particles and stuff floating around already, just starts collecting. And so now you have clay, and then what? You add what to clay? Electricity, fire, whatever. Then you start getting bacteria that will grow. You have life. Okay, so through the fire, yeah, you have life. You got amoebas, protozoan, and you have all these things, and then you start getting more advanced life until finally you get like a jellyfish, and so on and so forth. So a particle, a wave into a particle, into something living. That's all it is. It's a physical manifestation from a thought, from a light, from a sound. You trace it all the way back to source. Starts from a sound, which came from a thought, which turned into a light, which turned into waves, which turned into particles, which turned into us. Okay, so if you're going to trace it back, you have to go in reverse, and you have to go from the physical into the quantum. So once you leave the physical way of thinking, you can't put your physical self in a quantum, fashion unless you understand how you transform into that. Thank you, Tyrone. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Why, when you see through the matrix, you see binary codes, Egypt language, and a net? That's the barrier. That's the wall. That's what you bounce back off of. That's the ionosphere that you can't get through if you are unable to exchange. That's what they call it, cash. That's why they call mailing in money, because it's a toll. If you want to cross the bridge, my sweet, you've got to pay the toll. Okay, you Little Mermaid. So Ursula was the sea witch. The cosmos is also known as the cosmic ocean, the sea. So the wall, the grid, the brick wall, whatever you want to call it, a barrier. They call it a barrier in quantum physics. You can't get through the matrix or the barrier or the womb to be spaceborne unless you have some cash money, which represents extra protons or extra or anti-neutrinos or stuff to exchange for other stuff in order to maintain your speed and balance in the quantum world. As a gamma ray, as a ultraviolet, I'm not ultra, as a infrared ray, as a microwave, whatever your energy level is at. But in order to pierce through the veil and be spaceborne, you literally have to be going at a certain speed and not lose any of yourself. So that's why they call immortals. That's why they're called immortals. Like a rocket, yes. Why are they taking so long to announce the presidency? To calm y'all down. Anticipation. CNN needs some money. Coronavirus is getting old. They need something to talk about. Y'all know. Keep people glued to the TV to keep them distracted, because a lot of knowledge and energy is coming in right now that you're unaware of. But if you're totally distracted by this thing that doesn't matter, you're going to miss it. I mean, I wasn't really invested into this election at all. I just think it's amusing, and the stuff that most people missed, I caught. I also, still reading and studying and relating quantum physics to ancient texts. I mean, I would rather be doing that than waiting and watching the news and people count some ballots. I'd much rather gain knowledge. And either way, I'm going to know the answer to who wins the same time as everyone else. But I'm not going to allow that to steal my time or distract me or allow me not to pick up on a lot of energies that are coming through right now. Either way, I think most people get pulled into that because it's what, I don't like to insult people, but at the same time I do, because I was once one, but no longer. I think you can tell just by a sweep to what level of consciousness that people are actually on by what they give their priorities and attention to. So I'll say it in a nice way. You can just tell who's awake and who's not, and who's evolved and who's not evolved, and da da da. But everyone's always on different levels anyway. But it's just interesting to see, with all this knowledge readily available at people's fingertips, and like you said, even free college courses now, as to how people choose to stay ignorant, I'll say. It's a choice now. It's no longer, oh, well, knowledge is hidden, or you can't read because it's against the law, or whatever. It's so free, yet people gravitate towards other things. It's almost like having something very valuable that was hidden for so long, and then they give everyone access to it, but then people found value in other things that are worthless. And so the people that kept the treasure and the value in mind of, things that are truly valuable, they're able to really profit and grow from those things that people no longer find valuable because they're distracted. So, and then a lot of those people will turn around and wake up and ask you, well, how did you know that? Well, why do you think that's true? And they'll try to debate you with, some lies told to them that you've already deciphered through 10 years ago. And it's like, really, we're going to start here? So, and that's another reason why a lot of people stopped going back and forth on the internet, because you have people that haven't even woke up and trying to, tell you that you're incorrect or wrong or that you're crazy because they don't understand much of anything. So that's why you don't really debate or argue with people that have no knowledge. You don't debate with people that have no knowledge because there's nothing to debate. It's more of a ego thing at that point. And a lot of times they know they don't know anything, but they want you to teach them for free. And they're too embarrassed to say, well, please teach me. So they'll try to debate with you so that you can spit facts and they be writing them down. But I already count on to that. And like, okay, well, get your pen and paper. I'll call them out. I'm like, get your pen and paper, because I know you're just too embarrassed to ask me to teach you. So go ahead, get your paper. I'll wait. They get, yeah. We done figured it out by now. We ain't that dumb. Prove it. Well, why do you think that? Well, what book did you read that out of? They got their pen and paper ready. And then they'll go somewhere else and say the same thing you said and debate someone who was dumb like them 2 minutes ago. Okay. I take it as a compliment. The whole time they won't even read the book, right? But I understand it. Like, it's so funny now that you can see through a lot of stuff that you once normally didn't see through because your ego was blocking it. Like your ego to be correct rather than to see what's really going on. Like, wait a minute, what's really going on? They're extracting free knowledge from you instead of doing the work. I see what you're doing. So I guess quantum physics is a very good thing to start learning now, because that's like a major thing that's going on as far as technology. It is the future, definitely, because now that we're evolving and going into the fifth dimension, quantum physics is probably going to start replacing a lot of old theories that are no longer relevant as far as, fifth dimension. Now we're going to have to start thinking more quantum, because now we're in a new frequency. So quantum, thank goodness, a lot of it is, they say, mysterious, strange, doesn't make sense, but it checks out, and it is. So when you get to stuff and you read that so scientists can't figure out and all this kind of stuff, dark matter and this and that, it's because it's quantum. Okay, it goes in and out of dimensions. It can manifest through light, sound, thought, particles, energy waves, whatever. It's like, that's why they call it the God particle, because it can manifest as anything it wants, when it wants, and how it wants, period. And they've been trying to recreate it, but once you observe something, even it talks about that in quantum tunneling. If you observe the quantum tunnel, the results will change. That because your thoughts are interfering with those particles in those ways. So you can't observe it. You can't look. You got to turn around, close your eyes, and act like you don't know what's going on. Because your thoughts then start to change the sound and the light and the ability from particles to turn into waves, because now your thoughts are ricocheting and stuff up in there. Right? You done threw some stuff in the mix, basically. So that's why you're not supposed to observe it. That's why the results will change. You see it's speechless. Mm-hmm. That mindless, which means I'm earless. Lupe Fiasco, dumb it down. So you can't give any thought to it, which is perfect because that means you can't mess with it. Unbreakable. Invincible. Can't touch this. Can't touch this. I mean, it's everywhere. You just have to see it. And that's why I use music, celebrities, cartoons, movies, because this is what people know. And if this is what people know, then this is how you can learn. And this is how people learn. This is how you can teach. You know, I'd rather learn like this than in some stuffy classroom with some boring people. You said every cell has components of light, heat, electricity, magnetism, soul, and sound. The blood and the nervous system are the demarcation points of the quantum world. That's true, but that's when you're in your body. When you leave your body, it's like in death or as transition, then that energy must gather itself and leave the body. So yeah, that's why in ancient Kemet they had instructions on the afterlife in the tombs and stuff. But that's right, while you're living, that's correct. Then when you transition, then you take stuff with you. Thank you. You keep getting called and missing parts of this dang. Well, you can watch it. I'll leave it up like I always do. Are you getting that 5G phone? I already got a 5G phone. I had to upgrade. I got it already. The human body is the demiurge. Master your body and give it light. Yep. Give it light. Gold. You have a gold one? A gold phone on the way? Okay. So I think that I learned things and related to simple things because I try to teach my kids, or at least when they want to learn. So I have to simplify it as much as possible because they'll fall asleep or get distracted easily. And I think if people can understand things on a more simple, level, then, and you don't try to overcomplicate things, it's easier to allow that person to use that knowledge to better themselves, or like to manifest, or to understand something on a higher level, or to create on a higher level. And that's what's important right now. As long as you understand something, or as some people say, overstand something, understand, outerstand, whatever stand, as long as you can see it from all those different angles, you can create with it in many ways, which is very lucrative and profitable to most people. Okay. Is there a big difference between 4 and 5G? Yeah, there's a big difference between 4 and 5G. The frequency is different. Basically, 5G is adding into the atmosphere. It's adding a acoustic. Yes, this is another form of quantum knowledge. The cross or the cruise or the crux is when light crosses sound. So when you have light, we already got that, and then you create a sound, which would be a wave, a low wave. It's lower than light, which would be the 5G. When you create a sound and cross it with light, what are you creating? What dimension is this? You have a cross. You're already in the third dimension. You're already in the third dimension. When you cross light and sound, what are you getting? I'll show you. Okay, so this would represent light. Like this will be a phone, right? We put a little button right there. You turn it on, light goes up, right? You can see light particles, right? Now, imagine a 5G wave. What are you creating? This is the phone laying flat. You turned it on, it emits light, but then there's 5G waves running through the air to your phone. What is it creating? What is this? Well, if it's organized and structured, this is a hologram. Have you seen that commercial for the phone that creates a hologram? They have like a little man standing up talking to you from your phone. It's going to create a 3D hologram. So you don't have to look at your screen no more. So now you're going from a 2D phone to a 3D phone. Because now we're in 5D. You see? So instead of just being 3D, now you can create holograms in 3D because now you're on 4D and 5D because of the 5G. Before we were with 4G. 4G, what did 4G allow us to do? Exchange knowledge, exchange waves and particles through the phone, like emails, real fast. You could print from phones, but these were lower, so it wasn't as fast. So basically all you could get was faster communication, good graphics, and stuff like that on a flat screen. But now 5G is going to allow you to have holograms. Like Kanye West got Kim Kardashian's father as a hologram for her birthday. And they even used the voice technology to make him say some new stuff. So we're going to have 5G holograms as a result of, that new technology. And like I said, this is another reason why they want to bring in more frequencies. Like they want to go to 6G, because imagine what you'll be able to do with 6G versus a hologram. What will you be able to do with 6G or 7G? You know what 7G will bring? I mean, no one's thought this far in advance. Well, I know they have, but not a lot of people that are just, walking around the streets. They don't think this far in advance. But what will 7G will create matter. So what are they going to create? What will you create and how will you create it? Will you be able to create it like a 3D printer, except you just email what you want to create, and all of a sudden you press a button and it materializes in front of your face? Do you have to sign up for a subscription for that app in order to keep whatever you materialized? Or Do you get so many downloads a month? What, and create a double of yourself to go to work or be counted present. Okay. Look, you can't find the perfect partner, create one. It's going to be called you don't have to swipe left or right. You just have to hit print. That movie, it's an old 80s movie, and it's called Weird Science, where they created a woman on the computer. Y'all remember that old 80s movie? If not, basically, these nerds had a computer, and it was designing this lady on their computer with these, basic software programs. And then I don't know what happened, but she came to life, and there was some lightning and stuff going on, and she materialized. So that's what is going to be coming next. Like, remember in the ancient days, they said, oh, people used to be able to create and have children just by the sheer thought or conscious thought of having children without physically giving birth. And remember, they said the future is the past, and the past, we're going into the ancient past when we go into the future. So I know childbirth is going to be a lot easier with 7G. Give me some of your DNA. Let me sprinkle it over here, and we're going to make you a child. For real? Mm-hmm. How long is it going to take? A couple of minutes. I ain't got to get fat no more. You sure don't. Is it going to come out possessed, though? Well, we'll see. We'll have the same type of questions. It's a test tube, baby. It's going to come out possessed, maybe. We don't know. So, and I also think it'll be harder to lie in this new technological future. It's going to be hard to lie because thoughts can be read. And remember, I was saying that's why you got to think in code, because maybe this is how they hid their truth back in the ancient future days. I'm going to say ancient future days, by thinking in code. So if you're just walking around thinking about lizards and giraffes, people, that fool's stupid. Like, that fool's crazy. Like they say Kanye's crazy. But really, it's symbolic for something else. Mm-hmm. So what do y'all think? I think the whole quantum physics and knowledge, ancient becoming the future, is very interesting. We're coming to this point where the beginning is the end. And the end is the beginning. That's the quantum world. This is the quantum leap, whatever y'all want to call it, quantum tunneling, when the old becomes new once again. And we start the cycle over. Just those talks about cycle until that, and when that cycle ends, then then we start again. That's not the words he used, but then you have the Ouroboros symbol, the snake, Ouroboros, and eating its tail, and it's just a cycle. The old becomes new, the new becomes old, and when you get right here, that's the technology and the quantum. You can also call it a quantum entanglement. I have a lipstick called entanglement. Can you speak more about the network in the description below? Oh, TV network. The Forbidden Knowledge TV network is kind of like a Netflix for spiritual information. And it's like documentaries, ancient Egyptian mystery schools being taught in lecture form by like Billy Carson and other teachers, if you're familiar with him. It's only like $7.77 a month, and you get a 3-day trial for free if you want to go see what's on it. There's like cooking shows, meditations, breathing techniques on like how to breathe to increase your frequency, and just so much stuff. Is really good. If you use that link below, you can get the 3-day trial as well as and I always do like a giveaway by who's use the link below to join, and then I do like a giveaway every month or so to the new subscribers to that TV network. And they also do one sometimes, the TV network themselves. So it's just fun and interesting. And also you can teach your children through, you know, those videos and things like that. It also just opens your eyes to ancient knowledge and stories that you may not have been taught in school. And it also may help you get a better grasp on history that they don't tell you, or how it relates to maybe religion. Even though it's more ancient, a lot of the teachings, and you can just kind of connect dots and fill in blanks that were missing for so long. I would definitely recommend it if you're new and trying to, you know, get into the spiritual knowledge. Definitely subscribe, because it's worth it. It's only $7.77 a month, or you could pay for the whole year, which I do recommend because you'll save money. Instead of watching YouTube and searching and seeing, making sure, is this person right, is this person right, you can go there and get like a bunch of information that has been researched, you know, documented, filmed. You know, people are actually traveling to the locations and whatnot. So it's kind of like a very good thing to have, especially now that a lot of people are homeschooling their kids or virtually schooling their kids, and they also would like to teach them some knowledge as well, give them a different perspective of life. Perfect. Sure, how can I make a bunch of money and do some witchcraft for me, woman? How can you make a bunch of money? Well, I can't make you a bunch of money, but I could tell you how to get paid. Tap into a higher frequency, and the money-making ideas are up there. Okay, for real. Yeah, I think I'm lying. The higher your frequency and consciousness is, the better ideas will flow into your mind space. For real. I'm not even joking. Like, you can tell, like, and I don't like to say this like, oh, I'm better than you, but because I've been down and I've been up. So I know when you talk to certain people, they can't think out of a certain box. Okay. Like, they don't understand that there's more until you tell them. And so a lot of times our thinking is stuck in a box because we don't do any research, because we're distracted, or we're just told stuff and we just believe it. So that's number one. Number two is, until you ask, wonder, or research, you won't have any other thoughts outside of this box. So start thinking. I always tell people, you want some money? Do this. Lock yourself in a room. Get you a notebook and a pen. Do not come out of that room until you find at least 3 ways to make money with what you already have. Or no, you can't come out the room. You grounded until you come out with some legitimate ways that you can make money right now, today, with what you already have and know Don't come out this room until you do it. That is so simple, right? But how many people actually do that? All right, then. That's how you start making your money. You ain't going to make a bunch of it overnight, but it will lead you to a second stream of income, which may lead you to a third stream of income or just more income, period, to where you have to, where life is easier for you. But yes, turn off your phone, lock yourself in a room, and don't come out till you got some ways to make money. What can I do to get paid? As long as they're legal, A lot of knowledge is flowing through the air, and if you just sit still long enough and focus and tune in to receiving a certain idea or a money-making idea, it might just pass through your brain. Like, oh man, I need some money-making ideas. So now you sent out that query or that search to Google Universe, and now that's what you're attracting back, money-making ideas. Somebody wrote down some money-making ideas and thought them, and they're out there in the universe floating around. Now that you have sent out a Google search for them mentally, without no distractions, without clicking on them ads for them shoes or that lady twerking over there on that video, that the ad popped up, without doing all of that, you just did a search query. You're going to get the results with no distractions. It's going to come right in and like, oh my gosh, I can do this. I can do that. So when you sit in a room and isolate yourself, it's like turning and blocking off the ads. You're blocking the ads and getting straight to the knowledge. So that's what you got to do. You can literally do that. Literally just Google that. Money making ideas with starting from zero. Or you can pick it up from the universe, or you can get it from Google, or you can do both. Either way, you about to slide. Okay. Starting a business is an evolution to itself. It's very hard. No, it's not. I started a business in one day. It ain't hard at all. You've been told that it's hard or that you think it's hard, but it ain't hard. To start a business, all you got to do is clickety-clack on some buttons on a computer. That easy. It's very easy, depending on what type of business you're starting. If it's an online business, clickety-clack on some buttons, and you're done. You're in business. Poshmark, exactly. You got some old stuff in your closet that you don't wear anymore that it's nice. Poshmark. Sell your name brand items, sell your dishes, and sell your antiques. Go to Goodwill, buy stuff, and jack up the price, put it on eBay. I mean, there's a million ways to get it. Choose one or two or three or four or five. If you want faster money, have more streams, or charge half or whatever you're doing. Okay. Outside of the box. Think outside. That's my project for next week, going through my stuff to resell on Depop. Exactly. And sweet tea, that's a great idea. You know, if you don't want to list all that crap, you could do like a box, like take stuff that are like that's similar in a style and call it a style box and put 5 things in there and say, look, you can buy this style box for this much money. That way you don't have to list all those separate items, and they can just get the style box, and you can sell stuff faster and for more. People will pay more for a quote unquote style box. Then they will buy that versus trying to buy 5 different things from 5 different stores. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. A lot of people want to get rich quick, and that's the mistake that they make. That's the mistake that they make. You didn't get rich quick unless you already had something or a foundation to build on, So if you want to get money fast, have several streams of income. One stream is not going to get you anywhere super fast without the risk of losing things super fast. Okay, so small ideas equal big check. You got $100 coming from this stream today, $200 coming from that stream, 50 coming from that stream, 100 coming from this stream. You add that all up, that's how much you make in a day. You see, versus one stream. Some people make $100 a day when they go work, maybe for 8 hours, depending on how much they get paid. But if you have 3 streams of income or 4 streams of income, you can make $700 a day and don't even leave your house. So you have people standing up for 8 hours, don't even get 100 after taxes. You got people sitting down in their pajamas watching Netflix and, tapping on their little computer or whatnot, making $700 a day or $800 or $1,000 or however many streams of income they have. And as you keep working, the great thing is you're building yourself. So you're only building yourself to make more, not the same, but more. This is how people get rich. When you go to work, you don't build up more and more. You build the company up more and more. You get the same check. Every 2 weeks, your check looks similar. But when you build yourself up, your check double, triple, quadruples. Because it's your company. Okay? That's quantum physics in itself. It's just like the same thing that I drew. You're donating your energy to someone else and they're taking it. And you stuck in the middle. You stuck. And now you have to figure out how to get energy. Being stuck is the equivalent to not moving forward, but remaining the same. So when you own your own business, it's like you become a gamma ray versus, stuck in the ionosphere, borrowing and lending electrons and protons and neutrons to those traveling in and out. So now you're building your own ionosphere. You're building your own wall. You're building your own company. You see? And when you build your own company, as your company grows, so does your money. People have worked somewhere for 20 years and their paychecks are very similar. Maybe they got a raise for a couple of dollars, but that's it. You have a company for 20 years, you go from startup to millions or hundreds of thousands if this is, not that great, but you still have more than you would if you were working for somebody. Mm-hmm. Do I believe in other people having free will? If all possibilities exist in the quantum physics? Yeah, I do. Because free will is only free to an extent in your own consciousness. So like you're unconscious of the fact that you don't have free will until you are conscious of that fact. You understand? So it's like it's kind of like not knowing the end of a story and have a choose your own adventure. Once you've it's a choose your own adventure thing. So you have free will, but it's already pre-written. But you have the free will of which adventure you will take. See? Thank you, Halima Sprinkle Sprinkle. Thank you so much, Shira. I started my own business 1 month ago and I've made $85 so far, or 85 pounds so far. Sprinkle Sprinkle me, so I get 100 this week. Sprinkle Sprinkle, girl. That's pretty good, It's only going to get more as long as you're advertising for it and, putting energy into it. Congrats. You will know when your paycheck grows that you are putting work in for yourself. That's true. I need to put my fast energy towards myself. And you can work for other people and have a side business until that business starts making more than your check. A lot of people just transition like that. They do that. And then they say, I don't have to work anymore. Ha ha. They quit. What's the best way to manifest health? Practice health. Here's the cause and effect law. The universal law of cause and effect. The best way to manifest health is to live healthy. Period. Period. Live healthy. You eat garbage, it's going to show up eventually. You put poison in your body, it's going to manifest eventually. So the law of cause and effect is good for this, manifesting health. Live it, and you will be manifested as health. Don't get the Western way of thinking stuck in your mind because it's backwards. Having a cure, a pill, an antidote, a vaccine, a therapy for something is stupid. When you could have prevented it in the first place by keeping your immune system high enough to where it don't matter, or to where it's not bothered, or to where it can recover on its own naturally, like a lot of people are actually doing. It wouldn't put so much emphasis on who's sitting in a White House because people don't have the brain or can't think outside the box enough to figure if you eat healthy foods, you won't be prone to illness as easy. But they don't want to hear that. So, until they grow consciously and understand that you can't put a Band-Aid on everything. Some things you just must prevent. That's stupid. It's kind of like going to play football with no helmet and then say, oh, that's okay, I'll go to the hospital after. It's the same thing. What if you get a concussion? What if you crack your skull? That's okay, they can fix that. Maybe. Well, I'll take the risk. That's how people sound to me when they don't want to be healthy versus waiting on some drugs. I like to make extreme examples because it shows you just how silly people sound. You silly. Sitting there eating ice cream and a hot dog on a stick, standing in line for a vaccine. I don't know, I got all this mucus and stuff. I got the corona 3 times. But this vaccine gonna work, I know. Toxic waste oozing out of their pores. You said with a cigarette. Smoking a cigarette, holding an ice cream cone, and with a hot dog on a stick. What else? What else they can be? Drinking a Coke or something. And had brushed with fluoride toothpaste that morning. There we go. That's complete. Said Diet Coke. I'm wondering why they sick. I don't know why I'm sick all the time. So I'll break it down to you in an extreme way of another example of what they would be doing. Okay, so you know how we're humans and we don't really need to drink cow milk? So it would be the equivalent to drinking dog milk that you squeezed from dogs who just given birth to puppies. So you got some dog milk made into ice cream. You need dog cream with some toilet bowl cleaner, which is exactly what Coca-Cola is. It has enough acid in it to clean a toilet bowl. So you eat an ice cream, toilet bowl cleaner. What else? The cigarette, rat poison, the fluoride toothpaste. Basically, you're calcifying your pineal gland with that fluoride, dumbing yourself down, lowering your frequency. And what else did they have? A hot dog, nitrates. Who else knows what's in there? All the parts of the pig or the cow, whatever they used after they ground it up, after what was left from when they took all the parts off of it. And it could have cancer in it, ground up too, you don't even know because it's ground up and you can't see it. So that's what you're sitting there eating. A bunch of mess. And wonder why your immune system is low. Because it got to fight off all of that stuff. It got to fight off toxic toilet cleaner. Has to fight off germs and pus and bacteria from dog milk. It has to fight off, or cow milk. We're saying dog milk to make it more extreme. It has to fight off nitrates and cancer cells that you just ingested that was ground up from whatever animal they ground up to make that hot dog. I mean, what else were they eating? Pollution. Oh, smoking a cigarette. Yeah. Tar, nicotine, rat poison, all that too. Your body's fighting all this stuff off and you wonder why you sick. I'm sick. Because you're poisoning yourself and your body has to use all of its energy to just maintain stasis. Your eating habits and whatever habits is using up your body's energy to maintain stasis, which is the normal state. And so what do you think is going to happen when an illness comes around or a frequency comes around? Your body is so busy maintaining stasis because you're continuously poisoning it every day that it has nothing to fight off the other stuff with because it's already at battle with itself. And even they say, vegans who are around other people, help them because they create antigens or antibodies for viruses. So just by talking and getting my spit droplets up in your face is your medicine. Because I have not been fighting to keep stasis, and I've actually been building antibodies to illnesses so that when something comes my way, it can't affect me. So now when I speak to you, my spit goes to you, say thank you. I shouldn't have to wear a mask. I'm helping you. You can get carried on them like that if you like, but if you're a vegan, your spit is medicine. Your droplets are medicine to those who are not, honestly, because they're trying to maintain stasis while you're creating antibodies and antigens to illnesses. And that's science. You should sell your spit on Poshmark. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going that far, but if you want to break it down scientifically, that you could tell people that. Because just remember this when y'all start to think about diet. Is your body just fighting to maintain its stasis or normal health? Or are you creating backup? Or are you creating future medicines? Are you creating, a force field? Are you creating your immune system? Are you building your army? Or is your army continuously fighting and being destroyed just by your everyday living? You know, um, Vitamins aren't going to help if you continue the bad habits. You can take vitamins, they may assist, they may lend a helping hand, but they're not going to reverse whatever you're doing daily. Um, can you imagine going to the grocery store and get some dog milk? I sure can. Right. But you can boost your immune system any way you like, but focus on that. But remember, if you're putting stuff in your body still, you're taking away from your body's ability to build, because it's too busy trying to maintain. And we've already talked about this so many times, but the industry doesn't care about people, they care about money. So they're not going to tell you this because they want to make money off of lazy people, by giving you a temporary fix in order to make more money off you later when they develop something else that the vaccine does not work for. And y'all don't realize this, but I see it. And it's a way to move forward technology by making certain people pay for it. They're going to use the money that they make off of a lot of these medications to further the technology, to further the space travel, to further advance humanity, while sacrificing the undisciplined and the unhealthy. And I'm not saying they're sacrificing you, I'm saying you're sacrificing yourselves, but they're also not stopping you. Okay, so you have to understand this. They're not here for you, you're here for them. You're a vegetable, they feed off of you. You're one of those, you're those particles that they take from. Help them instill fear. You also help them to sell their medicines to fund other things, just by making bad decisions because you don't want to do right. You don't want to eat healthy. So when you want to see the world as a better place, you got to take a look at yourself and make a change. Na 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 na. Overthrow. So you have to make a change within, or else you're only funding and fueling the very system that is destroying you. Okay? It's like a temporary Band-Aid, and you keep doing the same thing over. Thank you, C Star. If I'm pregnant, can my mother who passed and may reincarnate in my child? I mean, it's possible, but I think it's more likely the grandparents. They usually say it's more possible. Because think about this. If your mother passes away, she's probably going to want to look after you, not you looking after her. It's most likely going to be a grandparent, because when the grandparent sees, okay, well, my child, which was your mother, is now on the other side, we didn't said, hello, how are you, da, da, da. Now I'm going to go back and be reborn through the grandchild. And you stay up here, you watch out for your child, and on and on and on. So, I mean, that's what I would definitely do. I'm not coming back as my child's child. Who's going to watch out for my child? So yeah. Grandparents aren't as invested, so that's what they will come through. So yeah, thank y'all so much. I'm gonna go ahead and go. I appreciate y'all. Um, Thank you. See if anybody. Thank you. Yeah, I already said thank you. Thank y'all for everybody who donated. Please hit the like button as you leave. I appreciate you guys. I thank you for listening and being here. And like I said, always do your own research. Never take anything I say as 100% truth, because I think most people should go through the journey of learning, reading, discovering, and seeking knowledge. I'm just here to share what I've learned, so forth and so on. I don't claim to be some type of whatever. I'm just sharing. What I have discovered. That's what schools are probably going to be in the future. There's not going to be a dynamic of teacher student anymore. There's going to be more of a sharing knowledge, because people are at different frequencies and people pick up different things that, if you put them all together, can create something profound or can teach something profound. So rather than one person who's probably on a low frequency standing in front of a class of people and telling them what they memorized or read in a book, that half of it ain't true, maybe we'll evolve to a better system in the future. Okay? Sounds much better to me. Thank y'all. I'll see y'all later. Bye.